Hello, Steve White 39. Well, I know this happened a week ago, but I didn't actually pay much attention to it at the time. I just saw images and article, and I didn't think much of it. I thought, oh, okay, someone was in a stormtrooper uniform in America, and well, I'm really bright. Um, and someone thought they had a gun or something. Okay, whatever. Um, and then I saw a video about it, and I realized, oh, this happened in Canada, and this happened at a Star Wars themed restaurant, and this person was just standing out the front of the store in a stormtrooper outfit with a plastic ray gun, basically. Um, and this happened to them, and it's really ridiculous. Now, apparently, somebody called and reported it, called 911 and said they thought the person had a gun. Now, Canada recently had a mass shooting. Okay, they might be a bit edgy. I can understand why people might be paranoid and seeing things that aren't there. That's fine. Someone can call up. People call up, I'm sure, all the time and report things that don't exist or aren't accurate or aren't happening, or they're just trying to get someone in trouble, or they're seeing something that's not there. I'm sure that happens all the time. But when the police actually showed up and saw it was a person in a stormtrooper at a Star Wars themed restaurant promoting the restaurant, that should have been where it ended. I don't understand how these people. I can understand maybe how some random individual doesn't recognize a stormtrooper or thinks maybe the person's a crazy Star Wars fan with a gun or something, maybe. But the police should know better. The police should know. They should be able to tell. They should. There's no way they didn't know what Star Wars was and what a stormtrooper was, and that that person was in costume, cosplay, that they were promoting a Star Wars themed restaurant. It's ridiculous. I can't believe this happened, and in Canada. That's why I suddenly was like, now this story's interesting. When I thought it happened in America, just some random person on the street getting nabbed because they're walking around with a fake gun, I guess just to prove a point because, you shouldn't do that or something, even though no one would have actually thought it was a real gun. But no, and the worst, and what makes it worse is the girl wasn't a Star Wars fan. She was only 19, and she volunteered. Sure, she's valiant. She volunteered to do this. And then this happens to her. They were apparently very aggressive. Now there's some dodginess with the people videoing the situation being obstructed, so they couldn't see what was happening. There's a point where they basically force her to the ground, and she ends up with a blood nose. Now, whether she just hit her nose on the inside of the helmet or something, or whether they shoved her or something, basically this poor girl was traumatized. She was injured. She didn't do anything wrong. She got down on her knees right away. She couldn't apparently get on her stomach, or maybe she was afraid that she'd damaged the costume or something, or she physically couldn't do it because apparently they're difficult to move in. They're basically just big pieces of plastic that you're just. I mean, apparently she had the helmet on. She couldn't hear them properly. The main thing is the first thing she did was put the gun down, and it was in front of them, away from her. She was no danger, even if it was a real gun, and they could tell it wasn't a real gun. She was no danger at that point. So this is just overkill, ridiculous. I don't know what this was about. There was something else happening here. Whether these people just really hated Star Wars, or I just don't understand why the police would go this far to this poor girl in this situation, which is obvious. It's obvious what it was. It was a person dressed up at a themed restaurant. I don't know. I just, like I said, I saw it in just pictures in the news and thought, whatever. And then I actually saw a video and realised it happened in Canada and all the specific elements. I just thought it was really weird and really wrong. And since I was making some videos, I thought I'm going to do one about that as well, because I just was still thinking about it a day later. And as someone who I've never really cosplayed anything other than Star Trek outfits, and since I got about 10 of them and I've only worn one or two, it's going to be a while before I'm even thinking of doing any Star Wars cosplay, but I don't want to be arrested or tackled or something because of it. My understanding is people go to cosplay events like Supernova and all that, and Oz Comic Con all the time. They go to and from the venues. You see people outside walking around. Nothing ever happens. Apparently, people don't carry guns, pretend guns, and I haven't really thought have many of these people had them that I've been looking at or talking to. I don't really remember if they're just in the costumes without weapons. but people seem to be able to move around quite freely, and people actually understand that it's cosplay and it's fun and people enjoy it. I can't imagine anyone here throwing someone to the ground at gunpoint and traumatizing them, and I can't believe it happened in Canada. So yeah, okay. I don't know if anything more is going to happen about this, but I guess we'll hear about it if it does. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, if you know anything about it, let me know. I only saw a bit of video on it, and it just seems really strange. Bye.